Rod mentioned Payton Pritchard tonight, who quietly did have a pretty good game.
He did.
He said after the game, I think you could say I hit the rookie wall. It's a grind for sure. You get tired. You have to stay physically and mentally prepared. Yeah. That's something I can continue to improve on. And, there was a stretch at the beginning of the season where like every single night the opening segment was Pritchard, and he got lost in the fold for a little bit there. So it's tough to tell. Is he going to be that dynamic guy from the beginning of the season? Or is he going to kind of get lost in the fold here in the playoff time? It's tough to tell like what his role is going to become playoff time because he was so important early on.
Well, I think – go ahead, Shiro.
No, you got it, Josue.
All right, well, I was going to say, I think he's starting to get back to getting the ball in his hands more often. And I don't know if that was a little bit of more experimenting between Brad Stevens and the second unit and obviously trying to deal with –
Jeff Teague.
Yeah, trying to deal with the interchanging pieces and what was it, the trade deadline. There's a lot going on at that time. And of course, that's when Pritchard hit that rookie wall. But, in that second quarter, when you see Tatum, giving the ball to him or at least letting him bring the ball up, I think that's because you're going to have that secondary playmaker coming off your bench down the stretch and, of course, into the postseason. I think Pritchard can be that guy. I mean, he just weathers the storm. I mean, whether it's a situation where the Celtics are behind or the Celtics just have to start, settling down a bit, they get a little too trigger happy towards the end of the first quarter and they start blowing away a lead or whatever the case may be.
How good is his shot?
Pritchard can come in and get that ball.
Pretty.
He controls the offense.
He went
that's
cold
what you want
for a
from
bit.
somebody. And, of course, who can give you that defensive energy on the other end as well.
I'm just talking about how it looks, John. Like the
No,
two he hit on the
absolutely.
right wing there, it's smooth.
Yeah. I mean, look, one of the great things about Pritchard, and it's been since day one, is he's fearless. So he doesn't play like a guy who's worried, like, am I going to make a mistake and get pulled? Or, doesn't look like the moment's too big for him at all. But the trade-off is he can take some hero ball shots, and he's had, so every once in a while, he's kind of jacking shots where like, that's not really the one you should be looking for, but it's because he's willing to take those that he's been successful. But his shooting for this month of April has been just atrocious. So he definitely did hit a wall. I mean, he's shooting 30% for the month, 23 from three, after going 50 and 50 for the month of March. So he definitely tapered off a little bit. So yeah, you do want to see him kind of bounce back. It's not just the rookie wall and playing this many games. It's this many games this fast. So I do wonder how that's going to affect a lot of people here. You always go from a 30-game college schedule to an 80-game, and it's right around the 40, 50-game mark where they're like, geez, this is long. But on top of that, he's been there has he missed a game?
He had
he missed that long stretch. He missed 6 weeks. So I take that back. I totally spaced on that. He missed quite a bit of time. So he's got fewer games under his belt as a result there. But he's just got to keep.
But that knocked him off too. I mean,
did.
That was one of many factors.
Yeah. He's got to.
Fans, they were freaking out when they saw him down.
A couple moments this year. That one, the smart one. I mean, it could have gotten bad.
That was the MCL. Yeah.
Smart was almost like, is this going to end the season or we're not going to wait?
That would have been the knockout blow right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to need him because we were counting down the amount of people on the who you're willing to count on. I think he's one of 8, right? At this point, your starters, Tristan.
That's my question for sure. Is he going to be involved?
Pritchard.
That's your playoff.
That's your
8. That's your 8 playoff rotation. He's absolutely essential there, especially without bringing anybody else. I mean, we are not even going to do the IT segment here, but
well, that's my question. Is he just going to spell Kemba and Smart for 5 minutes, or is he going to be a real deal piece for this playoff rotation? Like they're going to need him to contribute.
I think he's playing 12 to 15 minutes easy most games. Even in a tight rotation, I think the guys who are going to fall off is you might get one turn at a Romeo, in the first half, but it's going to be, I don't know if you're going to see them again in a tight game in the second half. You see Brad do that a lot, particularly in the playoffs. They'll give everybody that turn in the first half. No, but then in the second half, nope. Those minutes get really tight, and you're really down to just basically 8 guys.
Remember the 90-second canter?
No, that's so awesome. True though. No, Brad does that.
That was awesome.
My high school coaches do that shit.
Yeah. No, but it's true.
Okay, Joseph. We won't let you relive those painful moments in your childhood.
No, but it's a quick hook.
Yeah, I
but
did that one for the team. I do that up there. That little log.
You'll get a little Grant. You'll get a little bit of Romeo, maybe. Semi-situationally, but I think it's a really tight rotation.
Yeah, no. But that's why Pritchard's so important, right? I mean, you need someone like that, and especially if Marcus needs a break,
and you need him to be. You need offense from him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But for someone like Marcus, because a lot of people would just assume or they feel comfortable just plugging in Marcus with that second unit, or him or Kemba, just one of those guys is fine, and Pritchard can grab 9 or 10 minutes. But sometimes those guys need a break, and it's not necessarily because of foul trouble. Maybe they just need to just check out for a few minutes. I think that's when Pritchard, that's a valuable piece to have, especially toward the end of the regular season and going into the playoffs.
I think Pritchard's playing time is going to be predicated to some extent on Fournier, who has the ability to be a playmaker. If Fournier is in the game and he's rolling, and him and Smart and Kemba are playing well together, we may see Payton Pritchard not play much at all in the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked if Brad.
I'm thinking.
I wouldn't be surprised if Brad shortened to a 7-man rotation where Tristan and Fournier are the only 2 that come off the bench.
Yeah, I want this rotation as
conference finals. Yeah, maybe.
I want this rotation as short as possible come playoff time. They can't mess around with those Romeo minutes, John, and even Pritchard at this point.
Can't mess around.
They can't. Their margin for error is too slim.
Brad usually does, right?
I said,
even when he lost Hayward last year.
I know
he usually does, but this year feels different.
It's a quick hook. You need it simply because you can't play those guys 40 minutes every game. The math doesn't work out. You have to spell Tatum and Brown.
Well, Fournier helps it now, so we'll see.
Fournier helps
but also,
it.
I get the feeling that Grant's going to be like his,
Grant's going to get in there.
He's getting 20 easily.
But you can hide Fournier in a lineup that. You can hide Romeo in a lineup that has Fournier and another starter because you're not throwing out, 5 guys out there and they're like, who the hell is going to shoot here? Right.
You have to pick one though, don't you? Like it's not going to be Romeo and Grant and it's probably just going to be one of those guys.
It'll be matchup based.
But just look at the regular rotations. If you have Tatum kind of coming back in at the end of the first quarter to start the second, you could have a Tatum Romeo lineup in there, and then Jalen comes in and spells somebody. Like it's still, and Fournier's still on the court. Like I think you're still doing that in the playoffs. But you're right. It's in that second half in the close games. It's that quick hook with those guys. But again, the reason we're having this discussion is, there's no question Pritchard is in the circle of trust. I think for this unit, he's, he is
the circle of trust.
Circle of trust.
I think he is.
He's in the cot, people. He's in the cot.